Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel, to my videos. I hope you all enjoyed my first video that I posted the other day, just talking about how I made the decision to get into real estate and just, that whole process. Now in this video, I want to talk more about my experience. I'm going to tell you more about what I went through to prepare to come down here to New York City to start selling properties. I told you guys in the last video how I made the decision to start working for a brokerage called Marcus & Millichap, and I had 2 or 3 weeks to get everything together before coming down here to prepare. The number one thing I had to do to prepare was figure out finances. I had about $7,000 saved up. What they told me was that for the first year, I might not make a check. It was 100% commission, and some of these commercial deals, they take a while to get done. You've got to, when you're first starting out, you got to prospect, you have to find someone who's looking to sell their property. Once they agree to list, you list the property, you have to market it, go through the whole negotiation process, and then go through the, get it under contract and wait for it to close, get it to the close so that you get paid. And for commercial deals, sometimes that takes longer. It could take, a year when you're first starting out to get that first check. So they told me, be prepared, have enough living expenses to cover yourself for a year. I didn't have that much. I had, like I said, $7,000. I had to figure out how I'm gonna get more money. Knowing this now, I wouldn't have done this back then, but I actually applied to 2 different banks for a loan for $40,000. And that number came from, a position that I applied for as an associate at a different brokerage. They paid a base salary of $40,000, working under another agent, and then you would get bonuses on top of that when things closed. So I thought to myself, all right, around $40,000-$50,000 for my first year so I can get by and actually start building up my business. I think that would be okay. So applying for these loans, of course, not having any credit history, I got rejected from both of them. So then I had to take a step back and think more realistically. So I went to my local bank and I explained to them what I was looking to do, coming down here with a 100% commission-based career, just starting out, how I needed to get by in the meantime. Long story short, they approved me for a $5,000 loan. So now I'm up to $12,000, which still isn't enough to get by for a year in New York City, but it's something. My next thought was, see how much of a credit line I could get with a credit card. I never had a credit card, so, let's try it. So I walked into a Bank of America and I applied, and I was approved for a $2,500 credit line on a credit card. I'm thinking to myself, all right, I'm almost up to like $15,000 in spending to get me by until, I can figure out how to get some more money. Of course, it's not enough, but I had faith in myself that I'm gonna make this business work and I'm gonna pay back any money that I borrow. So I'm excited. I have this money saved up. Of course, I can't rent an apartment for that. So I asked my good friend from college if I could stay with him and his family in New Jersey until I get on my feet. And luckily, they were nice enough to bring me in, treated me just like family. They gave me a bedroom there, my own bedroom, so I was comfortable. The night before coming down here, this was at the end of October in 2013, I had a whole mix of emotions. I was leaving Geneva, the town that I grew up in, where I even went to college in the same town. Leaving my little brother, my little sister, they were really young at the time, so I knew I was gonna miss some of them growing up some. My mom, my dad, we have a close-knit family. My other brother who was there, I'm gonna leave all of them. But what made me feel good was, it's only a 5-hour drive. I had my car, and I just made up my mind that I would go home often to see them and see my friends there. Now, my next emotion that I felt was excitement. I was so happy. I'm finally getting ready to come down to New York City to sell real estate here. And that drive, I just remember I'm playing, New York, State of Mind, and all these New York songs, just so happy that I'm doing this. And I get to my friend's parents' house and get all settled in my bedroom, and I was ready for the next day. Now, for the next day, they told me they asked me to be there at 9 a.m. so that they could show me the office and just get me acclimated, let me know what I'm gonna be doing to help build my business. So in my mind, I thought, okay, they live 53 miles away from the office, which now I realize 53 miles here is so different than 53 miles where I'm from, and that it takes a lot longer. Like where I'm from, you get 53 miles in an hour or less, depending on how fast you're going and what streets you're taking. But here, I remember I woke up the next day, I left around 6:45, 7 o'clock. I get on the main highway to get into the city, and it was like a parking lot. It was just stop and go the whole time. It's like everyone just got on that highway to get into the city all at the same time. And I remember I wound up making it into downtown Brooklyn around 9. Like I wanted to be in the office and settled by that time. So I'm a little nervous about that. I didn't want to make a bad impression, but it is what it is. My first day, it's a learning experience. So I just parked in the garage there. I paid like $30, $40 for parking there for the day, which I cringed at that price too. And I was like, all right, whatever, let's do this. I'm not gonna bore you with all the details about getting started, but what I will tell you guys are the 3 main things that I focused on. The first thing was, I should have been focusing on this, but I feel like I was so overwhelmed with information they were giving me and what they told me that I needed to be doing that I didn't do this step as well as I wished that I did. But you really want to get to know the area that you're going to be working in. The area that I chose was Park Slope in Brooklyn. At the time, that area was up and coming, and it's actually really desirable. It was blowing up. And I did my research before moving down to New York City to figure that out, to figure out where I wanted to sell real estate. And I chose a mentor based on that. I interviewed 4 different senior agents in the office to join their team or to join them, because that is something you want to do as a new agent. You want to join under someone who's doing deals, who's going to teach you the business. So the guy that I chose, our personalities meshed well, and I was going to be working in the area that I wanted to work in. So that was the first 1/3 of what I should have been focusing on, and what I was, doing the best I can to do that, to learn the territory. But knowing what I know now, you want to know every sale that happened, why that sale happened, who bought, who sold, every metric of the sale. You want to know any landmarks or notable locations in that neighborhood. Like you just want to know as much as you can about the neighborhood. The second third of what I needed to focus on was training, which that part I loved, because I'm sitting at the end of every day, Monday through Friday in a conference room at the office with the sales manager and a couple other of the new agents, and we're getting taught how to do what we came to New York City to do, to sell real estate. And that I loved. It was an hour where you sat there, you got your lecture, your training, you did your role play or whatever, and then outside of that you got an assignment to do. The third thing that I had to focus on was building up a contact list, building a database of building owners, because when you first move into a market and you don't know anyone, you have to you're going to cold call all these people, and you're going to develop relationships from there with them. So I pulled a list of 2,000 properties in the area that I was working in, and I had to go through each of them. Most of them are under an LLC, so you have to find who the contact person is under that LLC, who owns it, and then you have to find contact information. You got to find mailing addresses, Phone numbers, of course, because you're going to cold call them, and email addresses if you can. Number one, though, is, was the phone numbers. We had to cold call them. So for the first 2.5 months, that's what I was focusing on. So November, December, half of January, that's all I was doing. Once I was done with the training and building up my database, it was time to get on the phone. Now, prior to getting on the phone, I was really excited about it. I never really heard of cold calling before moving into this industry. So it didn't really make me nervous or anything, but I'll tell you this, I remember my first day getting on the phone, the first person that I actually connected with, oh man, that was not a fun call. That person, they were wondering, how did you get my number? Don't ever call me again, and whatever else they said. So I was like, wow, this is what I'm gonna have to deal with. And I got a couple more of those. I left a lot of voicemails because a lot of people don't answer. But, with the people that I was connecting with, I had a pitch. My pitch at the time, since property values were going up during that market, I was telling them, hey, I just wanted to let you know property values have gone up 15% on this street. What do you think about that? What do you think your property's worth in this market? And, some guys, some owners, they bought into that, and some, especially the more educated, the bigger ones, they didn't want to hear any BS, and those are the ones who, for the most part, hung up on me. Part of my cold calling experience was that I was in an office where around the perimeter, you had the more experienced agents, the ones who are doing well, they're in offices on the perimeter. And then in the middle, you have the guys who aren't doing as well, or they're new guys, new agents. And of course, that's where I sat. So I'm sitting out in the open as a brand new agent, making these cold calls for the first time ever in my life. And, that kind of got to me. I didn't enjoy doing it. It was uncomfortable. And, for that week, I remember I started making calls on the Monday. I really didn't make that many calls in the office that week. Where I really shined was that Saturday. I decided to, from my cell phone, just make calls at my friend's house, just in my bedroom there. Just get up on a Saturday and make these calls. And there, I just felt so much more confident. I knew I didn't have everyone listen to me, because I swear, when I picked up the phone, everyone knew I was the new guy, and it got so quiet in there. And I was like, oh, everyone's listening to me. But whether it's true or not, that's what I thought. And that Saturday, I remember I got 3 meetings just because I was confident. I gave that pitch that I told you guys about, and I said it in a way where, it sounded compelling and exciting, and they wanted to meet with me. After making these calls and going on meetings and everything, I finally had a couple of people who they liked me and they wanted to list their property with me to sell. And this was in March. And this is the time where, building up to there is like a roller coaster. I was going up, everything was good, it was exciting, I'm meeting with people, I'm learning the business, and I'm getting closer to a listing. But at the same time, my bank account and my loans, like the money that I took out to borrow and the credit card, like that was all dwindling. And it's like, okay, good, I finally have people want to list with me. I'll make a check soon. So this was the day where things started going downhill, because when I went to go meet with the 2 owners, so I'll tell you the listings. The first listing that I was supposed to get was one that I originated. It was a cold call that I made that we valued at about $4 million. It was a prime mixed-use property with apartments over a store on 5th Avenue in Brooklyn, in Park Slope. So when we went to him, he told us that day that he spoke with his accountant, and his accountant doesn't think it's a good idea for him to sell it. He should just hold on to it. So he changed his mind about selling. So I was like, oh man, of course. Now, the second guy that we were gonna list with, the agent who I signed up under to be my mentor, He originated it and was gonna put me on the deal to help him. That deal was 2 smaller buildings next to each other that we valued at about 1.2, 1.3 million each. And so I was like, okay, at least we'll get that. And it'll give me something to work on, and I'll make a check and be able to get to the next ones. We meet with that guy, and he told us that the day before, another broker went to meet with him and told him he would do it for a cheaper commission than what we charged. So he signed up with him, and we lost that one too. So that was really disappointing. And in my mind, I was thinking, I need these. Like, I'm out of my savings. I'm paying things from a loan that I took out, and I'm maxing out a credit card. You know, what am I gonna do? I can't go out and get another loan. I can't do anything. Like, I'm stuck. So I had to leave. I walked into the sales manager, his office on a Monday after all this happened, and I told him, you know, I'm out of money. I can't make it any further. This was in March. So, you know, a few months later, telling him this, he said, you know, he asked me, what happened? I told you need a whole year of, you know, money to pay your expenses. I told him, honestly, I didn't have it. I didn't think it was going to take me this long. You know, I thought if I worked hard enough that I would make a check sooner. And it just didn't happen that way. So that was my last day. I packed up everything and I left. I remember, you know, after making that decision to leave, the feeling that I felt like I was devastated. This was what I came down to New York City to do, and you know, I thought I was gonna make it on my first try. I thought if I worked hard enough that I would make it work. And, you know, I didn't. I was getting up at 4:30 in the morning, getting in the car by 5 o'clock, driving into the city because I didn't want to put up with all that traffic that I told you guys about earlier in the video. You know, getting into the gym in the morning at around 6 a.m., getting my workout in, showering there, getting into the office. I was doing that every single day. And the thing that motivated me was the city skyline, the city lights, because when I was driving in that early, you know, it was still dark. And as I got closer to the city, you can see it. And I just felt like that made me come alive, and it made me excited about getting to the office and doing this, selling real estate here. And every night when I left it, and of course, including this night, you know, I would see the city skyline in the background, you know, in my rear view. And all I could think of is, I can't wait to close a deal so that I can make some money and actually get an apartment here and not have to leave this every night. So when I left it that night, I was just thinking, wow, this is it. Like, I'm not coming back here tomorrow. And I have to figure out, what am I gonna do next? How am I gonna get back to the city, get back on my feet, and do what I came down here to do? And that's what I'm gonna talk about in the next video. The reason I'm doing these, I wanna inspire you guys, anyone who is thinking about starting a business, you know, taking that risk. And I know I'm ending this video at that part where I failed. I didn't make it on the first try, but it all got better. So I want to inspire you guys, whether it's real estate or any other business, to jump in and take the risk. So, you know, like I said, follow along with my videos, subscribe to my channel, comment down below any questions you have, because I know I'm skipping a lot of stuff, so that I'm not boring you guys. I don't want to keep, you know, have these videos too long, but comment what else do you want to see? Do you have any questions? Even reach out to me direct. I'm happy to answer any questions and give you any advice that I can. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please like it, comment, share it with other people. I want to motivate as many people as I can with them, so definitely share them. And I'm looking forward to speaking with you guys in the next video.